As we can see, we got here an exception, okay, because it could not create, as we can see here, okay, in the message, it could not create the not being named customer topic available. Okay, this is the Spring Cloud Stream feature and so on. So in that order, let's add one more dependency. Let's go to Maven repository and let's grab the dependency. So this is the dependency that we are going to use, the Spring Cloud Stream binder test. So let's go here in our POM, okay, and let's use here the dependency. Let's just remove the version. Let's reload. And now let's go back to our test and let's run once again our test. So now, as we can see, okay, we got our test passed. So now we can, for example, inspect in order to understand what's happening here. So if we take a look at the logs, okay, we can see, okay, that the Spring Cloud contract stub runner, right, is working, okay, as we can see here. And so it say that it will download the stubs and the contracts. So as we can see, the remote repository was not passed, okay. So in that order, because we didn't specify here the remote, we are using it locally. So in that order, it was it switched to work offline, okay. And it said also that the desired dependency, okay, was passed as a plus. So it will get the latest dependency, okay. So the latest dependency was this one. After that, okay, it found our jar, right, as we can see here, the producer one, because we are testing the customer, we are testing the decision microservice, and we are using, okay, the stubs and the contract provided by our producer, which is the customer microservice. So as we can see here, okay, we got it, and also the Spring Cloud contract has unpacked, okay, the stub from the jar, right? As we can see here, it was specifying the repository what it got. So it unpacked the stubs and it used in our test, okay? So as we can see here. So resuming, guys, for example, showing with image, which is more easy in order to understand, we can understand that we have created our test, right? And we add the stub runner, right? The stub runner download the jar, right? It was in our case, it was a local repository. It got the stubs, right? And it downloads and unpacked the jars. So this is what's happening here, as we can see here. So you can take a look a little bit more, okay, in order to understand what's happening. But as we can see, we have here only this assertion. We could, for example, add more assertions. So let's add. This is the assertion that I have just added here, okay, in order to assert, for example. Okay, we could add, for example, more assertion. For example, if you remember in the last video, we had all the data that we provided. Okay, so we are consuming from the correct topic and we are consuming the correct message or event. So if you remember the customer message handle, it does some computation, right? So if we take a look here, so we are going to compute and later we are going to give the result, okay? So in that order, let's just run our test once again. Okay, that's good. So maybe as a bonus, the last thing that I want to tell you guys is when you are testing, for example, an asynchronous, okay, operation, you can use, for example, another Java library or project called by awaitility. So we can go, for example, here, okay, and we can get the awaitility dependency. Let's go to our project and let's add the awaitility dependency. So let's reload our project, everything is okay. And now the next thing that we have to do is to, we need to set this test, okay, as more asynchronous, okay, fashion, okay. So in that order, let's just use here, for example, awaitility, and then we can say, okay, wait, okay, this is a method, okay, from awaitility, and then we can set, for example, until assert, okay? And so it just receives a supplier like this, yeah, a supplier like this, okay? And then, for example, we can pass all our asynchronous, okay, operation there. So just like this, okay? Let's format our code and let's run our test. So you can keep playing, okay? You can, for example, investigate a little bit more about a utility, which is a very nice tool, okay, in order to test the asynchronous or everything related to multi-threading, okay, things. So guys, hope that you enjoy what we have done here, okay? And please don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos are coming later. So the last thing that I want to tell you guys is, for example, who's the owner of the contract. So later we are going to talk about this. So guys, this is all that we can say about Spring Cloud Contract, right? For now, because Spring Cloud Contract has also support for HTTP, okay? So you can test, for example, your HTTP REST, okay, API, and provide the contract and stub and so on. So in our case, we are testing the event-driven microservice. So in that order, we are using Spring Cloud Contract, the messaging support. So remember, when you use the stub finder, you can trigger the message, okay, through a label, just as we have done here, or even through a message. So when you use the stub finder, that trigger, actually Spring Cloud Contract will publish, okay, will use the contract and will simulate the publish, okay, of the event. So, and your application will consume, okay, the event. So just keep learning, okay? You can read a little bit more using the official documentation. And so in the next video, we are going to see how we can test our event-driven microservices using Spring Cloud Contract, just as we have done here, okay? But we are going to use also the test containers, because this test, okay, is nice. We are using the Spring Cloud Contract, but actually we are not using the Kafka. So the messages are not coming from Kafka. So this is not the fully integration test that we are going to, for example, deliver in production or in our, let's say, company, right? So if you are doing something, you have to do it the right way. So this is very nice approach because we are just using Spring Cloud Contract, but actually in the next video, we are going to use also Spring Cloud Contract plus test containers. So see you in the next video.